Any thoughts to add from anyone on kind of how you're organizing product teams?
There's no perfect org structure, and there's pros and cons of everything. It's always good to have a couple principles in mind. You have to make sure that you're aligning to the goals of the company. So you can't have a bunch of organizational structures that don't align to what you're trying to accomplish as a company. So you're trying to accomplish growing ARR or moving the needle in some product, but you have no team that is responsible or owns that. That's bad. The other thing is just that to the extent possible, you want to create teams with guardrails. So here's what you own, but that they are capable of delivering value on their own. Notwithstanding the idea of shared services, there's always usually a shared services team. You want a team to be able to deliver customer value and drive a metric or to a goal on their own and minimize the amount of dependencies on other teams. You can never get rid of it 100%. There's always trade-offs that you have to make, but those are just really good principles for setting up an org structure.
Product team structure is vital, the most powerful tool in our arsenal to really shape the speed and efficiency and quality with which we ship products. But it is a really powerful tool, and you have to wield it really carefully, because much more so than other types of changes, team structure changes tend to be changes that are very, very hard to pull back, very, very hard to reverse if you don't like the results of them. When we were a smaller company, 1, 2, 4 PMs, say that size, we were actually much more organized around technology lines, which I think was fine in the early stages for moving very quickly, but very rapidly as the business complexity grows, it's really hard to operate that way. And so we've since shifted such that our team structure is much more focused on not quite revenue lines, but more like product lines. If you imagine that you'd scaled up our business 100x, each of these would almost be like separate sub-products, sub-companies within a broader suite. And I think that that works much better because it ties the overall business outcome, which is what you're going to be pointed at, down to the technology and roadmap level so that everything can get aligned well.
We had a very similar trajectory. We went from really operating sort of in silos and are now moving much more toward what might be traditionally known as business units or product lines. We have platform teams that are really broad and sort of affect everyone. And then we have feature functionality teams that build on top of that. And that's been a continuous balance and collaboration of how do we get those teams to operate a little bit differently. There is a difference between a platform team and a function feature team, but that's been one that we've been growing in the last couple of years. That's been a fun challenge for us.